see myself. A mirror to me. The story of another, a window into the world. Windows and mirrors to learning. We read something, we learn something, we share it with the world. Oh my goodness, me oh my, I'm seeing the most amazing revolutionary readers in front of me. I believe in the power of community. I believe in the power of the people. I believe in children's literature, but most of all, I believe in the power of children. Today, I invite you to bring out your inner child, to heal your inner child, to celebrate your inner child. And I invite you to do this through the joy of storytelling. For me, my story, the power of critical literacy. Now you may be wondering, Miss Kumar, what is critical literacy? That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking. So, I could tell you, but snooze. That would be boring. No. Instead, I'm going to show you through a self-published children's book written by me. Now, anytime I read a book, I like to sing a song. Anytime I read a book, I like to sing a song. And it goes like this. This is the front of the book. This is the back of the book. The spine and the title. Now let's take a look. This is the front of the book. And this is the back of the book. The spine and the title. Now let's take a look. Now, I'm noticing already the title says critical literacy. We read something, we learn something, we share it with the world. I'm noticing a book, some thought bubbles, the world, and action happening. Now, I want you to tell a partner or a friend, what do you think? Tell a partner or a friend, what do you think? Go ahead and share. What do you think critical literacy means? I'm seeing so many amazing revolutionary readers thinking right now as they're seeing the cover. Critical literacy. Well, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get started with chapter 1. What is the power of knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and how do we engage in that space? As an immigrant moving from another country to the Deep South, I often found myself assimilating or rejecting my very own identity, not seeing myself in curriculum, or maybe just perhaps with Gandhi, the colonization, or the history of oppression, if even that was presented. That would be the narrative year after year. Nothing positive. But did you know the power of seeing yourself in a positive way, even at a glimpse, can provide such empowerment and affirmation, motivation and engagement, identity? It all works together. Identity can be explored when engaging with text and its meaning, and can transform previous identification when it comes to social, cultural, and historical norms. To feel seen when you read. To feel seen when you read. The interaction with text, it identifies us. It adds to our identity. And as we learn new things, try new things, we become engaged and motivated. Immediate engagement. Children exposed to identity-driven learning facilitate safety, excitement, empowerment. And as Teaching for Literacy engagement states, that an engaged reader is 500% more likely to read than a disengaged reader. when you know more about yourself and you're given more opportunities to learn about the world around you through text, it drives a sense of value and beyond. Social emotional experiences these days are often so deeply embedded with reading. However, social emotional learning is often isolated to a subject and oftentimes not even used. So when we begin to read more, to see more, we can also identify in literacy whose voices are heard and yet whose are silenced. So, we read something. We read something. Now, chapter 2. What does it mean to deeply think? Reading is thinking. Reading is thinking. My favorite part about being an educator from the East to West Coast and now a children's bookstore owner has been the opportunity to see children engaged in text. From flipping through the pages to reading the illustrations, holding the book, leading puppet story times on our storytelling stage, and also our Liberators Book Club. The eyes wide open instance when a child realizes, aha, they've found the solution. Or maybe when your child sees the name of their grandmother, Nani, in a book. Or maybe it's the unfamiliar word, like bao bun, that's, yes, unfamiliar, but so tasty. When we expose our children to experiences, be it family units or gender identity, we are disrupting the commonplace, disrupting the commonplace. We are also creating an entry point into learning that is different, a window, or perhaps something that's similar to them, a mirror, or even better, both. It creates opportunities for connecting and challenging viewpoints, addressing assumptions, and also hold space for a more authentic view of the world. Now, some may say a child is too young to read, but I say nay. Children are born brilliant, and they're seeing the world with a fresh lens at every single second. Reading. What does it look like? Well, for a baby, a newborn, anyone holding a book, reading. Flipping through the pages, reading. Making up a story from the illustration, reading. Answering questions to the text, critical thinking, critical literacy, reading. Babies by 2 years are already using race to reason about people's behaviors. The brain, by 3, is incredibly active. It's actually twice as active as an adult, and it stays that way until the age 10. It's 85% developed. By 30 months, they use race to choose playmates, and by 4 and 5, expressions of racial prejudice peak. Yet, traditional education oftentimes only starts reading at the K-12 space, which is about 5 years old. So critical literacy, reading, it's so important. Exposure to diverse texts from birth creates a natural yet necessary process to this space, an informal process of just seeing. And then there's choice. Choice is a chief factor in critical thinking, engagement, and motivation. Students rarely feel like they have control in school. Choice in what they read represents an opportunity to engage in reading, to put them in charge, and to prompt their need to read naturally. Students need ownership of what they're reading to cultivate curiosity and identity as a reader, leading it to be more fully formed. So then, critical literacy, it cultivates conscious citizens, open to flexible thinking and curiosity, when understanding the diversity of our world and everything around us that makes us different and the same, it makes us all better for it. So, we learn something. We read something, we learn something. Chapter 3. How do we use that knowledge to be activists with authenticity? Now, this is the piece. This is the message. Critical literacy leads to the process of cultural citizenship. Ways to inform, inspire, to make change, to make change, to make change. However that might look for you. To sit, to read, a coffee club, painting, spoken word, meditation, to be, to engage, to rest as resistance, to show up for you, to show up for others. Oftentimes when we can acknowledge our joy and our trauma and everything in between, we are able to give another the opportunity to be their unapologetic and most authentic self. So reading liberating books then, reflective of diverse and inclusive experiences, allows us to stay in an engaged stream of consciousness without formality. It's not just the action of reading and learning, it's engaging in reflection and connection. Reflection and connection. Engaging in praxis, reflection and action upon the world in order to transform it, as Paulo Freire says. The ability to use language we learn in inclusive texts promotes our understanding and honoring of humanity while we're addressing the systems of injustice. So we read something, we learn something, we share it with the world. We share it with the world. So what is the impact of critical literacy, or lack thereof? Well, at Rowie's Readery, we see the influence of identity-driven learning at all ages and all backgrounds. We see safety in speaking. Every book in the Readery is reflective of historically marginalized communities, whether it's the Black, Indigenous, Latine, Pacific Islander, Asian, Arab, the LGBTQIA+ community, the neurodiverse community, and the disability community. We see people of all ages and backgrounds sharing their stories, engaging in critical literacy and healing the inner child. Communication, curiosity, storytelling, all naturally happening. These numbers right here, they tell the story of a community. What happens when adults do not see themselves in spaces growing up? What happens when we have not felt seen? And also how we project that on ourselves and the way that we show up for the world. But yet also, these numbers tell another story. Also, what belonging and empowerment can look like when we use the pages of a book to ignite us, to lift us, to guide us all. Currently, half of all third graders in Palm Beach County alone are not reading on grade level. How will we use this information of critical literacy to change that narrative, to engage in our community, to make sure our community feels seen, valued, honored, and a sense of belonging? How will we advocate for critical literacy so we can cultivate conscious citizens and empathetic citizens of us all? I hope you'll join us in the experience of liberatory learning for all. I hope you too will be a revolutionary reader. Thank you.